happy to welcome to the Sunrise Morning Show Tonia Khouri. She is the new president of In Defense of Christians. Tonia, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I think it's important to begin our conversation talking about your predecessor, Tufik Baklini. Now, it's a complicated story, but for listeners, basically he has resigned from IDC after reports that he had served as a conduit for some illegal campaign donations to, among others, Congressman Jeff Fortenberry, who is now under indictment for lying to prosecutors about illegal campaign donations. Tonia, just first of all, what was your reaction to this news?
I was shocked. I knew nothing about Tufik's personal campaign contributions. And the key word in that is personal, because IDC was never involved in Tufik's personal campaign contributions. And IDC, in fact, has never made political contributions at all. Never.
Okay, I wanted to ask just definitively, In Defense of Christians was not aware of any of this that was going on.
Correct, that's true. And the pending investigations have nothing to do with IDC, and we hope that it will be resolved soon.
All right, so then you are still moving forward as an organization here. I mean, obviously, not the way that you would probably choose to take over leadership of In Defense of Christians. But, Tonia, nonetheless, are you excited for this new role you have?
I am. I'm very excited. I'm ready to continue the mission because you're right. It's a very important mission that we are on. You know, our mission is to preserve and protect Christianity in the Middle East. And our brothers and sisters over in the Middle East, they need us. They need us to continue on this mission. So I am ready. I have been IDC's vice chair since 2018, and I actually started advocating for Christians in the Middle East on my personal time since 2011. If I could just share a quick story with you. My husband and I, we went to a conference, learned about, at that time, the Assyrians in Iraq who were being severely persecuted. We left the conference. We didn't know what to do, just as private citizens. So we gathered our 3 children. We traveled the country and visited churches, making sure that other Christians, Catholics, were aware of this bill that was moving through the House. I flew out to D.C. I spoke with senators and congressmen, and the bill actually passed unanimously to the House. So ever since then, I have been involved. My husband is Lebanese, born and raised in Lebanon, so it is very personal for me.
I was going to say, I wanted to ask, what is your passion about this issue of defending persecuted Christians?
You know, we give a voice to the voiceless, and we in the United States, I think, sometimes take some things for granted. We get to go to church freely, we get to worship freely, we get to say our views freely, and it's not like that in other parts of the world. And someone needs to stand up for them. You know, United States, we hold these values of freedom and peace and human dignity, and people who share those values, we need to support them. We need to stand up for them. And that's those Christians in the countries that we focus on. I mean, in 2022, we're going to start focusing on, or continue to focus on, the biggest perpetrators of Christian persecution, which is Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon. We're going to continue to reach out and stand up for those Christians and religious minorities in these areas who don't have a voice. It's our moral obligation.
And what do you plan to do with this new role as president? I mean, what is your role now with In Defense of Christians?
So I am leading the organization. We have a great team behind us already with Rich Gazal as our executive director, Sarah Basile and the rest of the team. We all have a passion for Christians and religious minorities in the Middle East. So I will just continue the work. Like I said, we're going to continue to focus on those countries. We're going to have a particular focus on Lebanon this year because they are having elections. And Lebanon is the only country in the Middle East that has a democracy, that is a democracy. So, and democracy promotes religious pluralism. Lebanon is the only country in the Middle East where Christians and Muslims and Jews live together in relative peace. And we need to do everything we can to make sure that that stays in place, because democracy, if we protect democracy, we protect the Christians. And again, that's our goal. And there's two cancers in Lebanon, simply put, Hezbollah and corruption. And we're going to focus on those two things.
How do you hope to address them?
So, first of all, Hezbollah is a Iran-backed armed militia, illegally armed militia in Lebanon. And they are slowly trying to take over Lebanon, whether it's threatening voters so they can get into the parliament, or undermining the Constitution. Right now they're trying to obstruct justice by threatening the judge that is investigating the Beirut blast that happened over a year ago. And these are completely funded and supported by Iran. I mean, they're Lebanese citizens, but they don't stand for Lebanon. So we have several bills running through the House right now, trying to remove Iran or have sanctions against people in the government who have, not Iran, Hezbollah. People in the government who have supported Hezbollah. Thankfully, our department has taken action on that and sanctioned those people. So that's putting pressure on the people who are supporting Hezbollah and working with Hezbollah. And then as far as the corruption, elections are coming up in Lebanon in 5 months, and we are going to be pushing to make sure that there's fair and accurate elections there. Because, again, if we keep that democracy in Lebanon, then we help keep the Christians in Lebanon. And we can do that several ways. We can have an international supervision of these elections, both here in the United States and in Lebanon. There's a huge diaspora of Lebanese people that live in the United States. We need to push to make sure that they can vote here in the United States. So there's several things that we can do, and we're planning on doing that because it's part of IDC's mission.
Yeah. We've been talking to Tonia Khouri. She's the new president of In Defense of Christians. And if you would like to get to know her a little bit more, there will be a press conference to introduce her. This is coming up on Friday, November 5th at noon Eastern Time. And it'll be live at IDC headquarters, but also there is a Zoom link if you would like to follow along with the live stream. Go to indefenseofchristians.org, which is linked at sunrisemorningshow.com. Tonia, very much looking forward to working with you in the future here on the Sunrise Morning Show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for all the work you do.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure.